I'm just going to give a very, very quick tour just to see what's kind of going on in the yard today. We got some pollinators visiting the goldenrod. We got some milkweed going with some pollinators. Look at cool wasp. That's cool. Got some Joe Pye weed over here. Got some Rebecca. There's like a teeny little bit of vervain is going. That's kind of cool. I don't really know what the rest of this crap is. Wilted yarrow. Some pearly everlasting. I don't really know what this pink one is actually. Maybe some garlic or something. Something like that, I don't know. And then some more milkweed over here. This one right here, actually, believe it or not, is milkweed. With this cool wasp. Let's see if it'll focus. Yeah, there we go. It's hard to focus in the wind. I'm like trying to move. Wow, look at that. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Wow. I dare not get closer. The bumblebees are liking the hyssop. Let's see what else we got. Whoa, coming over this way, we got some purple clover that has wilded itself there. The Penstemon digitalis is, going well. The Monarda punctata. I love this plant. It's very windy today, but it's called spotted bee balm. Let's see what else we got. We got more milkweed over here. This one right here. We got, oh, wow. Very nice. More milkweed. Got some fleabanes. I don't know what that purple one is. Got the corn on deck, bro. The corn is doing corny things, man. It's a corny joke. Got the pumpkin. Pumpkin flowers going. That'll definitely get pollinated too. It only takes a little bit, and there's enough of it that it'll definitely get pollinated. I don't know what's up with this rock. Milkweed beetles are chilling on it. Obviously, this is milkweed. Fuck out of my way, milkweed. Got the evening primrose, some more Joe Pye, some ironweed next to it. Some, oh yeah, look at the pumpkin. Oh my gosh. Oh, look at the pumpkins. Let's go, let's go. That's lit. We got some peppers over here in the Miracle Grow garden. Some parsley. There was some caterpillars in here at some point, but they seem to all be gone now. We only really saw them for a day, and then they just kind of left. We don't know if it's because we disturbed them or what. Some tomatoes, some basil. Through the door. Some Queen Anne's lace, some more milkweed. Some wilting rue. Tall meadow rue or whatever. Oh, a little pollinator in the Queen Anne's lace. Cute. Some lamb's ear, blooming kind of late. Alien seed pods. They're preparing themselves. They're getting bigger. I love watching these things grow. It's so cool watching the milkweed grow. It wasn't even that long ago. They were teeny little, tiny little things. Now this one is like a late bloomer too. Even this one's wilting now. This is like the last one. Yeah, that's about it. A lot of evening primrose there. Some mint. Some false sunflower or something like that. We don't really know. Still no sign of Stupoo Dupoo. Pretty sure he's either pupating or eating. Not really sure what else to make of that. So today is August 12th, 2023. Thanks for joining. We'll be back again on another day. Wow. Whoa. The black morph tiger swallowtail butterfly. Amazing. Very beautiful. I'm glad this is in my garden today. Ooh, hello. Hello. What are you so interested in this tree for? Pretty cool. Sweet man. Keeps coming back to this tree. I don't know why. I don't know why I liked it so much. Oh, left again. It's over there. If it keeps coming back, I may even have time to run in and get my SLR camera. In fact, I'm gonna go do that right now. Oh, oh. I looked it up, and I think it said it was a cucumber tree that the black morph is laying its eggs on. But what's really sad is it's pretty much laid an egg on every single leaf, and like, I wish we had more to offer it. Like, this is really all that there is in the whole entire neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just in our yard. I mean, this is the entire neighborhood's worth. So it's like, that's not really enough for like a butterfly colony. So I've just been watching it come back again and again and lay its same eggs on the same plant. And it's like, it should be laying them on like 50 different plants, you know? It's kind of sad. One of the interesting things that's happening, like, in today's politics, in today's world, you know, today is the 12th of August, 2023, but, like, I mean more generally the last, like, 5 years, really, since, like, 2000, I'll say 17, because that's where my personal journey with being transgender by name started. I think that we're living in this really interesting era where, like, precipitating and preceding the French Revolution, there were intellectuals that were writing papers, right? Precipitating and preceding the Marxist Revolution were intellectuals that were writing things, right? There was definitely some anti-Semitic stuff that also precipitated and preceded the Nazi hostile takeover of Germany in the 40s. But all of these things have roots that go back, like, pretty far. The thing that's interesting about gender and the fight for gender equality, but more just against the binary, right? That stuff does have roots in intellectual stuff written in the 1980s and such like that. But that stuff is so completely outdated and outmoded by just the simple numerous lived experiences and queer divergence that is happening in the modern era. And what we don't have is a series and sequence of intellectual texts to, you know, predicate a revolution upon. Like, there's definitely some, like, weird stuff out there when you read about, like, gender accelerationism and other stuff like that. I don't really think that that's, like, a revolutionary's text or anything of the sort, but it's connected. You know, I don't think of that necessarily as that intellectually moving. I think of it as mostly just like a flirtatious song and dance with what intellectualism is. It's poetic. When you read some of the black papers on gender acceleration and other weird ideologies, like, we don't really have a foundation yet to launch a rigid platform of gender equality. And I think that's because it's so fucking easy for Christians and people who, by my estimation, and it's maybe something I shouldn't be saying on YouTube, should be put the fuck to sleep, right? We don't need to kill them. We just need to anesthetize them permanently and then, you know, throw them all in the same place and make sure that they are anesthetized and never have to deal with them again. Or just put them in internment camps and not feed them. These people can go fuck themselves, you know? And they don't have it in their hearts to see us as people. They're like, oh, we love you, Jesus loves you. But what they're actually saying is that they are trying to destroy you. And if they choose us as an enemy, and their ideology doesn't have to be scientific, neither does ours, but we don't really have the literature to back up the quote-unquote the claims, right? And here's another interesting thing to think about. Like, gender is something that is so desperately unexplored in revolutionary style papers. Like, we've heard about, like, emancipation, right? Movements like that. We've heard about, you know, like the wage gap and the pay gap. But that's not really the same type of, like, quote-unquote gender politics that I'm talking about. Gender politics today is not a binary series of just, like, well, females need to be equal and patriarchy is bad. Like, those things are true. But in addition to that, females need to feel welcome and open to not identify and not be identified as female. Similarly, males should not be identified, should they not choose to be identified as males. I understand that, like, at some level you can make some rudimentary basic bitch argument like, well, what about selective service? What about with people that have to go fight a war? How can we have a standing army if everyone's a pussy and claims to have a pussy? You can't, asshole. But it's just so outlandishly ridiculous that that's what would happen. And, like, maybe someday there'll be some stupid loophole and everyone just starts claiming to be trans so that they don't get drafted into the World War III. But, like, I just don't think that that's an argument against, right? Like, that's just, like, a hypothetical. And there's so many hypotheticals that people can come up with for like when it would be a bad idea to not segregate the genders. But what I want to hear more about is, what is your reasoning for actually segregating us? Because I think that has roots and lineage all the way back in like the 11th and 12th fucking century. Like, I think we're so far back that we're in the medieval fucking castle age. And I don't think we should be talking about gender in the same manner that we collectively as society, as humans, as understanding beings of our sentience and ourselves and our space and our capabilities should be talking about. Similarly, I also, and this is to kind of move topics, I don't see any psychedelic revolutionary papers. I think that was squashed. I think we see some of them as early as the 1940s and 50s, 60s, especially the 60s, where psychedelia as like a prospect of the universe, as like a prospect of intellectualism and of, intellectual pursuit. Like, you can like go to college before college had metastasized and become a fucking scam. And I think that for every Ben Shapiro or Charlie Kirk turning point fucking clickbait anti-trans bullshit, there's 4 to 5 doctors that are scientifically backing us up as a community. And I think that we desperately outnumber, the supporters, I should say, of anti-segregationism, desperately outnumber the transphobes. And I think that the transphobes are forced, as most ignorance is forced upon. They are forced upon the same tactical errors that conservative men are forced to make, because they're just like, they're demoralized into it. They're propagandized into it. And so it's not that people naturally have a hatred in their heart for trans people or like a lack of passion for us. It's that they have been taught and educated to despise us. Now, I don't think that will really be the case 20 years from now, because as of today, there are so many people that are being born that are writing so much about this stuff, that are speaking out about this stuff, that like, you cannot keep us like a fairy in a bottle. Like, the genie is out of the bottle. You cannot put it back in. They are trying to, where the genie has not come out of the bottle, stuff it back in. But I'm sorry, we all know there's a genie in there now. We know that gender is not binary. We know that it doesn't matter whether you identify as a goldfish or as a schizophrenic. It doesn't matter. Like, none of these things matter anymore. The only thing that matters is whether the institutions of our government can survive the desegregation process. And if they cannot, then the government itself must be fucking destroyed. Does that make sense? Like, it's time that we stopped trying to be like, well, it would just be incompatible with the system, don't you understand? Another interesting thing to note. I don't think that the fight and the advocacy and the hoopla, I don't think it is any more centralized around trans women as it was in 2017. I think the argument has always been divergent, and I think that it got co-opted, overly centralized around trans women, because I think that it's easier to pinhole us into that archetype of just, well, you're annoying, to use this term, uppity. You're annoying and you're uppity and you should just shut up. Like, it's gaslighting. And what's interesting about it is, once the gaslighting fails and people do start to awaken to the fact that this has nothing to do with trans women. I mean, trans women are part of it. There's not nothing to do with it. It's just that, like... So, I don't really think that the arguments... Like, it's not worth engaging with someone, right, who wants to talk to me about the 2017 trench line. That trench line has been completely overrun. We won science. You don't get to say scientifically you're mentally ill. No, you don't get to say it anymore. We don't care about that. Because we could just be like, okay, and giggle at you. Because every single organization agrees with us. Any organized body of science agrees with us. And if you don't like that, that's just because you're mad. You're just like, wah, we lost, but we don't want to admit it. We're poo-poo pantsing. Fuck you. We're done with you. But if you want to argue with me about, like, well, you shouldn't be allowed in the women's room, it's like, well, I would argue that we shouldn't have a women's room. I'm not sure that's a great argument. Like, I understand that there's, like, are you waving me on? I don't know what this guy's doing. Weird behavior. I don't know if that I think that we should completely desegregate women's, quote-unquote, female spaces, quote-unquote. I don't know. But I think that that's worth looking into before we start precluding people on the basis of biology and gender. Is, well, okay, say we do preclude people on the basis of biological gender, allegedly. is a thing. Say that we believe that this is a thing. What the fuck is the point of this light? Why am I sitting at this light? What is the point of this? There's no one. What's the point? So, I think that the argument should be, instead of focused around whether or not we should allow women in sports, or trans women in sports, or men in sports, or whatever, biology, I don't give a fuck about that. I care about my lawful status, whether when the government fucking arrests me and incarcerates me. That's another big one that I often hear used as like a tool of division is, well, what about the prisoners who are already bad people and have been convicted of crimes? It's like, yes, we should obviously not put male rapists who identify as trans in with females. And I don't think that we should have. First of all, the carceral state needs to be abolished. Second of all, if we're not going to go full send leftist revolution and set all of our comrades free, and we are going to, admit that there is a antisocial population that we really should have corporal punishment for and hang them, I think that we should bring back hanging and corporal punishment, by the state. I definitely am not against the death penalty, but I also see the counter-argument there. Well, what if they decide that it is transgenders who are to be roped and carcerally punished according to blah, 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 blah. It's like, shut the fuck up. It's like, shut the fuck up at that point. Like, we're so off basis of where the discussion should be that it's really not even worth having a formal discussion. All right, we're here. 8 of these things. 8 of them. Crazy. Albany's getting huge. Like, all these buildings are opening. There's a ton of these high-rises going up. Like, 4 or 5 of them across the city all at once. Like, we're really turning into a bigger city. And people aren't realizing it. Like, they're not paying attention. They don't know what comes next. Albany's going to be lit. And it's probably going to collapse and gain new ownership, new corporate ownership. But, as the state loses power and trust, and as people begin to have their darkest feelings, soak out into their policies and their desperation and their, forced equity and non-forced equity and redlining, and just it's going to get a lot worse. But it's also going to be culturally kind of an uprising. And I think we're going to see a lot of really cool, art movements, a lot of really cool, things of that nature, things of just very bizarre nature really kind of bring themselves into fruition. Like, this wall is just begging for art, whose property is this, Albany's strength, why aren't they paying for a mirror? We'll be right back after this. Oh, it's August, what's the date? August 12th?
Yeah.
2023. Yo, fuck that shit. They finally got rid of these fuckhead stones. Honestly, I was ranting so hard on them last year. A lot of people were talking about it, but I wrote some shit about it. I was like, they're not even fucking historic. And then now everyone knows it, because it's like, there was like a whole thing on it. They get rid of them, finally.
What was the point of them anyway?
Because, they wanted it to, look, historical, That's it. That's their whole thing. They wanted it to be historic.
Wow, fucking Albany.
Oh, it's so much just better already. What a street,
Oh shit, Twilight Market's already starting.
Oh shit. Looks a little bit hype.
Looks a little too family oriented.
What? Too family oriented?
Yeah. It used to be a cooler like college thing, but yeah.
Get all the stuff off and into it. The whole point is that you gotta get your snot in it. I mean, I'm definitely gonna pass. There's no shot. I'll do another one. It didn't really go. What even is an antigen test? But yeah. I knew it. Because they know when you're looking. Yeah, they know when you're looking at it. When they see your eyes focus, even if it's focusing on this and this is focusing at them, they know. They're like, nope. That's dark energy.